Do you want to see me try and design something live in Figma right now? And probably watch me mess up because I'm not going to get it right? Yeah, this is the video. Watch this video now. So hello, my name is Craig and this is Quarantine with Craig. I am stuck at home like the rest of the world. Today is day 15. I've been making these videos every day, and today I'm going to try something a little bit different, which is live design challenge in Figma. I'm going to take a quote. So every day I make something in Figma, usually visualizing a quote or something that I've seen, and I design it and I put it on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So today I thought it might be quite fun for me to try and do it live while you're watching on this video and see my design process and my way of thinking. And I'm going to try and articulate the things that I'm thinking and the ideas behind things that I'm doing as I'm doing it. This is the quote that I'm going to try and visualize. It's a quote from Napoleon Hill. Patience, persistence and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Perspiration, persistence, patience, those are the kind of things I talk about all the time. I mentioned those in my last video where I was talking about my content filter and the stuff that I talk about. So this quote really resonates with me, and I haven't got a clue in my head right now what I'm going to do with this, but we're going to jump over to Figma. Actually, just 2 seconds before we do jump over to Figma, I'm just going to show you inside my Notion. So inside my Notion, whenever I find a quote that I really like, I jump into Notion. I've got a board set up that's just called Insta Notes, and I paste the quote in there so I can remember to do them or see them and stuff like that. So I've picked this quote out of there, and we're going to jump straight into Figma. So this is my Figma board that I have all my stuff that I do on here. As you can see, it's got all my old Instagram posts on here because I've only just recently started doing this on Instagram. These are all my old ones. Some of them haven't gone live yet. Some of them I never liked, like this one. I'm still not a fan of this, and I still can't work out how to make it good. So I haven't put that one live yet. So we're going to start right at the bottom of this document, and I am going to just basically copy this. So one of the things I always do first is I group every day into a day 13 or whatever, so I don't accidentally overwrite one. And then I've just duplicated that old one, Command D, and I'm going to drag it down to here like this, and then I'm going to ungroup it because in Figma it's actually a real nightmare to work in things that are inside groups. So I've ungrouped it for now, and then I group it back up tomorrow, and I'm only going to have one artboard for now. So this artboard that I've got set up, and I'm just going to delete the things that's on it. This artboard that I've got set up is the portrait size for Instagram, which is 1080 pixels wide, as you can see there, by 1350 pixels tall. I decided to go for this size after I made a bunch of them that was square, and I think it's visually more stunning when you make something that's just a little bit taller, and it's visually a bit more interesting too, because everything on Instagram used to be square. Now it doesn't have to be. It's quite interesting to actually mess about with that size and still keep to a standard. So I usually do them portrait. Sometimes I do a couple of them so the kind of the design flows into the next screen, because with carousels on Instagram that's quite nice how you can do that. So I'm just going to copy and paste my quote first of all. So I've got this here. So I like to usually just paste it into Figma so I can see it next to it before I do anything with it, because it's sometimes hard to remember the quote off the top of the head. And this, whilst it's a really good quote, it's actually, for me right now, looking at this and recording this, it's quite challenging for me to think of something that I do with it. The reason I picked the quote is because it's got quite a good flow to it. So it says patience, persistence and perspiration, and then it's got something after that. So the reason I picked it is because the quote is saying something, and then the thing that it's saying at the beginning is affecting the thing at the end. So I knew that there's kind of something to visualize inside it, because the way that the quote goes is patience, persistence and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. So the patience, persistence and perspiration, those three ingredients make success. So that's the kind of thing that I'm running through my head with at the minute. I'm probably going to try and visualize patience, persistence, and perspiration and show them resulting in success. So if you see some of the old ones that I've done on here in my Figma document, I like to keep these things really simple. I stick to very basic shapes. I use one colour, 2 colours maximum, and I keep them very basic. So I'll be following the same kind of idea for this one. I'm not going to make it a wholly typographical one like I did with this. I think I'm going to use some visuals. But I need to think of something that kind of visualizes patience, persistence, and perspiration. The first thing I'm thinking is, by the way, I only use one font on these two. I use Inter for everything. And I've got my colours set up inside this document here. The 3 colours that I use for everything. I actually only use the middle colour, the mid-orange, for the most of the things. So I've got a thought that I'm just going to try first, and I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. I've got a thought about 3 P's. 3 P's turning into a success. That was the original idea that I just had in my head, but then as soon as I've said it out loud, I'm not sure if it's actually going to work. No, I don't think that's going to work. The other thing I was thinking about, so I really like the fact that perspiration, let me just make that smaller. By the way, I don't know if you'll get anything useful out of this video at all. I think all it'll show you is how much designers are actually winging it when they actually try and do stuff. So I'm going to write perspiration. And I like the fact that perspiration has got similar letters and a similar structure to combination. So the phrase goes patience, persistence, and perspiration combination. So what we're trying to visualize is the fact that patience, persistence, and perspiration make one thing at the end, which is success. So the thing that I'm thinking about with this is that I'm going to show some kind of filter that goes down into success. But I don't really want to just use the words, because I think that's a bit dull. So what I'm going to try and do is, I think I'm going to challenge myself to just use circles, because I'm starting to think of something here. So as I did in my other video, where if you're struggling to think of an idea, sometimes it's a good idea to put a massive restriction on yourself, and suddenly an idea pops into your head, because you can get creative within the bounds of the thing that you've just been trying to create. It's difficult when you're sat staring at a blank canvas and you're going, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? Because I'm recording this and I'm looking at this, I'm thinking exactly that right now. But I just thought, patience, a really good way to show patience is an ellipsis, which is 3 dots. And then I was just thinking about, how could I turn the ellipsis, which is for patience, into something for persistence, and into something that's for perspiration as well. So what I'm thinking is that I'm going to visualize this over several different boards. So I'm going to have patience like this, which is going to show 3 dots, and I'm just going to center that in the middle. And then I'm just going to move these over here so I can remember them. And I'm just going to duplicate this artboard. Then I'm going to figure out a way with 3 dots to show persistence. So persistence could be 3 more dots, maybe 9 dots. Like that. And then perspiration, I'm going to show them instead as kind of, I'm going to shrink. I'm seeing something in threes. I really like the idea of threes here, but I can't figure out right now, it's not coming to me, the persistence bit in the middle that's just three things. So I'm going to skip to this one because I have got an idea for this one, and I'm going to use the pen tool inside Figma to do it. So this is just going to be a teardrop, or rather a bead of sweat. And this is probably going to look terrible. Yeah, that looks terrible. So let me do this in the way that I always do teardrops to make them look perfect. I'm going to take this, I'm going to edit this, I'm going to take this point, remove the the anchors on it, and drag it out. There we go, that's better. Just make that a bit bigger. Okay, so I've got that. Now what I want to do with this is make sure that it's the same size as this. So I'm going to paste this into the middle because I want the consistency across these three things to look exactly the same on all three. So the size of that is 52, so I'm going to make the width of that 52, and then I'm going to drop it underneath, make another one, and then just make sure that all three of them are there. And I want them to be in the same place, like that. Okay, so let me just zoom out a second. So that is perspiration. I'm not sure whether that really looks like perspiration. I think it needs to be a little bit more like that. We need to put a bit of visual interest in it and kind of show that all three are different. So yeah, that kind of works. I'm still not 100% happy with it. So patience. I think actually we can show patience with one dot. So we show patience like that. We show persistence with three dots. And then we show the final one, which is perspiration, with three sweat drops. Basically, that's what that's trying to show. And then we need to think of a visual for success. So this is obviously the difficult one. How do you show success? What is success? Visualizing success is difficult because it's an abstract noun. It doesn't mean anything in particular. So I'm kind of struggling to think about how we could visualize success. What I'm thinking is we might actually just use the word for this. And I'm actually thinking, now I'm seeing these, I'm thinking about putting them all onto one artboard. So I'm just gonna do one more here at the end. In fact, let me stop this for a bit, and I need to work this out because I can't do it. Give me 2 minutes. So I took a little bit of a break to try and work this idea out. The visuals of this wasn't immediately coming to me, and I knew this was going to happen doing a video like this because it's tough to talk and make this interesting for you at the same time as I'm trying to do Figma. So next time I do this, I'm definitely not going to try and think of an idea on the spot whilst I'm talking to you at the same time. So I went away for about 10 or 15 minutes and I thought about this a little bit more. The thing that I was struggling with was making these three flow into a thing that resulted in success. So I liked the idea of having a carousel like this at first because it's really simple. It's really cool. It's the idea isn't immediately obvious. But then I started thinking about, as you saw in earlier in the video, I was starting to try and figure out how to point things to things, and I came up with this kind of solution which I really like, which is really simple again, and it flows into kind of a downward trend, and at the bottom of it I was going to put success. So the version of this was going to be like this, and it was going to flow down probably a little bit something like this. So the dimensions of it are not perfect, but that was the thing that I was going to do. And now I'm seeing it, I kind of like it. So I've got these 3 versions here. This is the most difficult bit I find when you're a designer. When I'm presenting design work to a client, I don't ever show them multiple ideas. I really don't like doing that, because I like to go to the client and say to them, this is the best solution that we can come up with. We had a million other ideas, but I don't want you to pick because I'm the professional. I want to pick the idea and present it to you. So when you get to this stage as a designer, even though there's not a client ending in this, I've still got to pick one of these. And I know that there's other versions that maybe work too, and I've got to try and decide on one. So the 3 choices I've got here are the one that says success at the bottom, which kind of brings the idea full circle and actually says the word success at the end. The second one makes it a little bit more obscure, and you'd have to read the text that goes along with it to make sense. And then the final one is kind of trying to plot success in an upward trend, which is popular with graphs and things. I don't like that one, so I'm going to delete that one straight away. And now I'm kind of left with 2 versions. What I might do with these is try one of them on Instagram and one of them on Twitter, and maybe a 3rd version on LinkedIn or something like that, and see which one works best. I think I'm going to go for the one with the word success at the bottom, because it shows the result of a formula. With this one, it is obscure and visually it looks appealing, but you're not finishing the idea. Ultimately, the idea of any design is to communicate an idea, and with this idea, I'm not finishing it. It just looks like a cool piece of design work. So what I'm going to do is go for the one on the left, which says success at the bottom. I've just kind of had a thought of an idea as well, where I might make success kind of curved down in a smile, in a way, kind of like a smile. I'm not going to do that on this video because I think I've gone on for long enough already. So I just wanted to make this video so you can see me kind of trying to live think through a problem, and this problem is different every time I try and solve one. The things that I went through in this is a little bit what I mentioned in my other video. I restricted myself down to circles to begin with to get the seed of an idea, and then as that idea progressed, I got stuck a little bit and I went away for 15 minutes without the camera so I could think a little bit more clearly. Then I came back and thought about how I could display this as a narrative, as an image that people would understand. And then ultimately I decided that I wanted to make the image more obvious than probably I would usually, because I think it completes the idea. I don't know if this video has been useful at all. Please let me know, because it's the first time I've done kind of a live design thing that's not straightforward either. It's not a simple thing for me to design. I'm not just designing a logo that I already know about. I'm actually trying to think of an idea live and talk to you at the same time. So that was Quarantine with Craig, day 14. I am Craig Burgess. If you go to Twitter, you'll find me on there, where I spend most of my time. It's just at Craig Burgess. And if you want to find out even more about me, go over to my website. It's got all my other stuff on there, videos, blog posts, podcasts, etc., etc. Go to getdoingthings.com, and I'll be back with another video just like this one, maybe a bit better than this one, tomorrow, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much for listening.